Yes, Mr. President, I will, let me just say expeditiously, thank all my colleagues that were involved in this, Senator Boyle, Ort, Amador, Hannan, all those, Murphy, that did this. And this is one where I'll say just very quickly, I think we could say we got this right in two ways. One, in content of what we addressed, and maybe even more importantly, before I get to the content, we got it right in response to people who are dealing with this addiction, their families, and as Senator Ransenhofer said, we dealt with a lot of mothers that felt there was nowhere for them to go. And you know what? Heroin's always been bad, drug addiction's bad, but the game changed a couple years ago when the heroin on the street, in my early days at Monroe County, in the early 80s, if you found heroin on the street that was 12 or 14%, it was high. The heroin on the street now that's killing these people is 50%, usually cut with 50% fentanyl, so you're doing 100% heroin. And people are dying. In the first phase, led by Senator Boyle, we did the Narcan, which literally, this body, what we implemented, has saved thousands of lives in New York State. Without that, there would be more dead people, just like Senator Latimer said. Phase 2, plus the budget money, we've done a lot of things to increase insurance coverage, access to longer coverage, things that are really going to be good. And that is what parents were calling for, trying to limit prescriptions of opioids that lead things into heroin is all really, really good stuff. So I think this is one that we can say, in response to the community, in response to parents and families, we did the right thing. I do think we have to keep going a little bit more even on the insurance side. And I would agree, I know Senator Montgomery doesn't want any jail sentences, but I think we ought to take the next last step. And for the people that are choosing to make money and sell drugs that they know, not over the course of time, but almost instantly are deadly, and know exactly what they're doing to young people, to old people, to white people, to black people, all across the state, I think the sentences need to get ratcheted up, and then we can say we've done everything in our power to put out this scourge and this terrible disease. But this bill is a great, great step, and I vote in the affirmative. Thank you, Mr.
Rollback to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Lavelle to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to start off by acknowledging the senators who have worked on this toward the entire state, Senators Murphy, Ort, Amador, and our early pioneers, Senator Boyle and Senator Hannan. You know, too many times in our legislative life, we can't get the attention we need until we see the entire building on fire. And then everyone gets engaged and begins to work together to put out that fire. I believe that we are at a time where people are engaged. They realize that this is an epidemic. They realize that the building is on fire. There, in my district, as I am sure in each member's district, I am hearing from funeral directors that they are looking down at a casket and seeing far too many young people in that casket. My own doctor has said when he goes to the emergency room, there is, every time he goes in, there is at least 2 people who have a reaction to heroin and are acting out in the emergency room. So we have a generation, at least, the millennial generation, who is really being affected by this, and even those younger than the millennial generation. In a few of the schools in my district, they have in place early detection, where a student is having problems that we can indicate are of a mental health variety. And so it's important that we also, beside the package that we have, make sure that our districts and our colleges and universities have the resources to deal with the mental health issues that students are having at this time. It is those issues that begin those students, both young and at the collegiate level, to go down a trail of drinking too much dependency on drugs. So I think this session, in terms of this issue, has been really great. And once again, thank you to the senators who put in time above their normal hours that they put in their own districts.
Senator Lavelle to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Kaminsky to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today optimistic and in support of this package of bills, and I really thank those who took the lead in this for doing so. Look, we have been losing a war for quite some time. A young principal of Oceanside Middle School that I represent went to 3 funerals just last summer of former students. It's gotten way out of control, and today we are taking the right steps in addressing that with prevention, with treatment. But there is one thing that needs to be talked about more, which is also a part of this puzzle that we're trying to solve, which is mental health. There are far too few providers. It is far too hard to get insurance companies to cover proper mental health coverage. And I've talked to way too many parents who have had children suffering from illnesses that they were not able to properly treat through the proper medical course. What makes this scary, and I've talked to my colleagues across the aisle about this, and I'm certainly glad that this is a bipartisan effort, is that there isn't one type of person that's affected by this. This is all of our children. But there is a particular aspect about mental health here that we need to address better going forward. But these efforts are monumental, and I do hope this turns the tide, and I'll be there to help push in any way I can, and I thank the sponsors for a yeoman's work in getting this done. I vote in the affirmative.
Be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Seward to explain his vote.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I, too, want to stand and commend the leaders of our task force on heroin and opioid addiction. Back in 2014, Senator Boyle chaired our task force, and of course, more recently, Senators Amador, Ort, and Murphy. I was very pleased that in 2 occasions they came into my district to have a forum on this very issue, because it became very apparent quickly that this was not a big city problem. It was not a rural or small town problem. This is a problem throughout the state of New York, regardless of size of community. It cuts across all segments of our population, economic standing, everyone. It impacts everyone across the state of New York. This heroin and opioid addiction problem destroys individuals and their lives, it destroys families, and it destroys whole communities. And that's why it's very, very important that we take major steps to combat this very, very serious problem. We did some things back in 2014. We started down the path of fighting this epidemic. Very important that we take major additional steps, and that's what this package that we're enacting here this afternoon does. A multi-pronged strategy to combat this terrible scourge. Prevention, treatment, and recovery, and all 3 very, very important, and they are addressed in this package of bills. I would agree with others who have said there's a 4th strategy that we need to get even more serious on, and that is on law enforcement, to give our law enforcement officials more tools to come down tougher on those who profit and prey on those who are addicted. That can come later. But today is a day to focus on prevention, treatment, and recovery. That's what this package does. I'm very pleased to support these bills. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Seward to be recorded in the affirmative. Senator Breslin to explain his vote.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I think this is a great day for the New York State Senate. And I commend Senator Murphy, Senator Ort, Senator Amador, Senator Hannan for all his work over the years, Senator Boyle, and many members on this side of the aisle as well. And there's a non-senator I'd like to point out, and that would be our former Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Farrell, who in 2013 came to me and several others and talked about Laree, her daughter, her 18-year-old daughter, who died of an overdose. And she has taken the cudgel. She came to your hearings, testified, came to assembly hearings and testified, and in 2013 came to the first forum that we held in the New York State Senate. And I don't think I have ever seen a more compelling witness who highlighted opioid abuse and our inability through, as Senator Seward said, through prevention and treatment. There wasn't much prevention then. There wasn't much treatment then. In fact, the mode of treatment frequently was the same as we did for those people with alcohol addictions. Try a little outpatient, see if it works. And as you guys know, that frequently is way too late. This is a day that everyone in this Senate can be proud of. It's a day that will change the lives of thousands and thousands of people, and it will make New York State the leader in prevention and the leader in treatment. And hopefully the end result is the total leader in recovery. So everyone can hold their heads high. Accordingly, I vote in the affirmative.
Senator Breslin to be recording the affirmative. Senator Akshar will conclude explanation of votes.
Just for a couple of thoughts, I want to echo what Senator Breslin just said. I think we should hold our heads high today in the New York State Senate. This is exactly the way that government is supposed to work. On this particular issue, we set our political differences aside. We took a bottom-up approach, not a top-down. We listened. It's exactly what the people we represent want us to do. They want us to listen to them. We did that. I applaud the co-chairs of the heroin task force. You traveled the state and you listened. You took the bottom-up approach, and I've often said, not only at home but often also in Albany, that this is a community issue that requires a community response, and we're doing that. So I would respectfully offer to everyone here that we shouldn't give up the fight. We should continue to do everything we possibly can, and we should all do our part in continuing to ensure that we reduce stigma that surrounds this terrible addiction and this terrible scourge that we know as the heroin epidemic. Mr. President, I vote aye.
Senator Akshar to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Aye, 62.
The bill is passed. Calendar number 1897 by Senator Ort is high and ineligible for consideration at this time. That brings us to calendar 1898, where we will have a substitution. Secretary will read.
Senator Carlucci moved to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 10689 and substitute the identical Senate Bill 8156, third reading calendar 1898.
The substitution is so ordered, and the Secretary will read.
Calendar number 1898 by the Assembly Committee on Rules, Assembly Print 10689, enacted under the Real Property Tax Law.
Read the last section.
Section 2, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Aye, 62.
The bill is passed. Senator DeFrancisco.
Yes, I understand that we have one last bill that was laid aside temporarily, 1871 by Senator Golan. Could we please take that up now? And
Secretary will read on the substitution.
Senator Golden moved to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill 10,083B and substitute the identical Senate Bill 7485B, third reading calendar 1871.
We're getting a little loud again. Please try to work with us here. Substitution is so ordered, and the Secretary will read.
Calendar number 1871 by Member of the Assembly Lentol, Assembly Print 10,083B, enacted amend the tax law.
Last section.
Section 14, the statute take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young.
Senator Golden to explain his vote.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to talk and thank my colleagues for this great incentive that has been placed here in the state of New York to make a difference here for different industries that will bring plenty of jobs to our good state. Passage of this bill is a long overdue statement of support for the creative class in New York, those whose tireless hours of practice, performance, and programming, often at income levels way below the poverty level, despite advanced degrees and total dedication to their vocations, generate the greatest entertainment products in the world. From the classical violinist looking to get his or her first string quartet recording, to the game designer working at his or her first commercial virtual world, to the hip-hop act trying to get their message to the world, New York has often been the most difficult place for them to succeed. We are a microscopic blip of the location of industries 3 times the size of the film industry, and we have so successfully encouraged here in New York. This bill would help these struggling performers, acts, and designers a chance to record and create in New York, and would give them the possibilities that they could not possibly reach to and achieve here in this great state, and receive universal support from the music and gaming industries at the same time. This is truly below-the-line incentive. It will generate real employment while not subsidizing those stars and directors that do not need our taxpayers' support. We will grow these industries in all parts of this great state and help us take our rightful place in the nation and globe's leaders in those over $125 billion a year industry. $17 billion in music here in this great nation, we have 1% of that. $25 billion in digital, we have 4% of that. We can only do better. We can create more creativity here in this great, great city and state. We can create more jobs and energy. We can do the right thing with this bill. I would also sincerely thank my colleagues in the Assembly in working for passage of these bills. I urge this great governor to join us in helping us in signing this great bill and creating the creative capital that we should be in this great world. I thank my colleagues. I hope you all vote aye. This is a great bill. This is for jobs. This is for the future of these 2 great industries here in the greatest state and the greatest nation in the world. Thank you, Mr. President. I vote aye.
Senator Golden to be recorded in the affirmative. Announce the results.
Aye, 60, nays 2. Senators Akshar and Kruger recorded in the negative.
Bill is passed. What about Senator DeFrancisco?
Could you please recognize Senator Stewart Cousins, please?
Senator Stewart Cousins.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise just briefly to thank this body for the passage of a bill that will help Yonkers rebuild its schools. For so many of you who know what it takes to have an education system that actually works and looks like it works, you know how important this bill was. It is the beginning of what will be a long journey. Yonkers has about 39 schools. The average age is 75 years old. And the beginning of the renaissance of the school buildings has begun with the vote today. So I just wanted to thank my colleagues. What you did is you helped to put together a joint construction board so they can begin trying to chart how to rehabilitate, renovate, and even add 3 new schools. Yonkers, as you know, is part of the Big 5. It, at this point, educates about 27,000 children with the projection of needing 4,000 more seats because right now they are exceeding capacity. Kids are in places that they shouldn't be in, expected to put in a day of learning that is all the more difficult because the environment is not conducive. So again, I want to thank you. I want to congratulate the Assembly as well. I think 4 of us represent Yonkers, Assemblywoman Mayer and Assemblyman Gary Pretlow, and of course Senator George Latimer and myself, and you know, with the partnership with the government there, and certainly across the aisle and the governor, we are beginning what will take a while, but as we know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. So again, thank you so very much. Of course, I vote aye.
Thank you, Senator Stuart Cousins, for your explanation of vote on calendar 1870. Senator DeFrancisco, that completes the non-controversial reading of Senate Supplemental Calendar 55A.
We're moving so quickly that we're wearing staff out, so we're going to have to go at stand at ease for an undeterminate amount of time. And as soon as I know when that time is, I will be back in and making another announcement.
Senate will stand at ease. Come to order. Senator DeFrancisco.
The rules meeting just was completed. I mistakenly indicated we'd be back here to take up the rules report, but that's not the case. An audible was called, and we're having a meeting of the Republican Conference in 332. You want to? You want to be?
Senator DeFrancisco.
Oh.
You want to do the rules report?
I can't hear you.
Hang on.
One more time.
We could accept the rules report before we go to conference.
Okay, there will be an immediate meeting of the Republican Conference in room 332. There will be an immediate meeting of the Republican Conference in room 332. The Senate will stand at ease. Senate will come to order. Senator DeFrancisco.
Yes, just so everybody knows the plan, we've got a couple of housekeeping things. Then we're going to call a meeting of the Higher Education Committee so we can start moving some of the nominations. We will then do the new calendar from the last rules meeting. We'll accept the rules report first and do the calendar. And then we've got a few more active bills and, if time permits, another Rules Committee meeting. And the reason we're doing this, because I think most people would rather not be here till this time tomorrow night. And as more we get done tonight and get down to the final agreed upon bills that we're all waiting for, we'd have a better chance of getting out of here tomorrow at a reasonable hour. So, first order of business, could I just return to motions and resolutions, please?
We will return to motions and resolutions.
I wish to call up my bill, print number 6315A, recalled from the Assembly, which is now at the desk.
Okay, there's a lot of noise in the chamber right now, and we've still got a lot to do here, so I'd ask everybody, if you're having conversations, please take them outside the chamber. Secretary will read.
Calendar number 810 by Senator DeFrancisco, Senate Print 6315A, enact amend the state finance law.
I now move to reconsider the vote by which the bill was passed.
Call the roll on reconsideration.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young, ayes 62.
And is the bill restored to its place in the third reading calendar?
Bill is so restored.
Would you please call on Senator Valesky?
Senator Valesky.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Senator Klein, I wish to call up his Bill 5485A, recalled from the Assembly, which is now at the desk.
Secretary will read.
Calendar number 1442 by Senator Klein, Senate Print 5485A, enact amend the vehicle and traffic law.
I now move to reconsider the vote by which this bill was passed.
Call the roll on reconsideration.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young, ayes 62.
I now offer the following amendments.
The amendments are received. Senator DeFrancisco.
Mr. President, I'd like to now call an immediate meeting of the Higher Education Committee. We're going to do what we've done in the past. We'll leave the roll call open for anyone who's in that committee meeting to vote yea or nay on the bills that we deal with from the last rules report.
Okay, there's an immediate meeting of the Higher Education Committee in room 332. An immediate meeting of the Higher Education Committee in room 332.
Do you have a report for the Rules Committee? Do you have a report for the Rules Committee at the desk?
There is a report of the Rules Committee at the desk.
Would you please have it read?
Secretary will read.
Senator Flanagan from the Committee on Rules reports the following bills. Senate Print 24B by Senator DeFrancisco, an act amending the judiciary law. Senate 1860 by Senator Gillon, an act amending the alcoholic beverage control law. Senate 3272A by Senator Sanders, an act to direct. Senate 5762 by Senator Robach, an act to amend the state finance law. Senate 5825B by Senator Lanza, an act to amend the vehicle and traffic law. Senate 6755 by Senator Ritchie, an act to amend the social services law. Senate 6824A by Senator Marchone, an act to amend the civil practice law and rules. Senate 7113 by Senator Martins, an act to amend the criminal procedure law. Senate 7170A by Senator Ritchie, an act to amend the tax law. Senate 7209A by Senator Bonasek, an act to amend the judiciary law. Senate 7431A by Senator Martins, an act to amend the workers' compensation law. Senate 7791B by Senator Laval, an act to amend the education law. Senate 7805 by Senator Murphy, an act to amend the agricultural markets law.
Chris.
Senate 7987A by Senator Savino, an act to amend the executive law.
Chris, hang on. Okay. We're going to ask for silence in the House right now because they're having difficulty hearing the bills being read at the stenographer's desk. Thank you. Chris, you may continue.
Senate 8031 by Senator Bonasek, an act to amend the racing parimutuel wagering and breeding law. Senate 8038 by Senator Lanza, an act to amend the administrative code of the City of New York. Senate 8051 by Senator Venditto, an act to amend the vehicle and traffic law. Senate 8054 by Senator Ranzenhofer, an act to amend the real property tax law. Senate 8063 by Senator Golden, an act to amend the real property tax law. Senate 8064 by Senator Golden, an act to amend the tax law. Senate 8091 by Senator Golden, an act to direct. Senate 8096 by Senator Little, an act to amend the public housing law. Senate 8104A by Senator Parker, an act to amend the penal law. Senate 8110 by Senator Laval, an act to amend the education law. Senate 8118 by Senator Hannan, an act to authorize. Senate 8119 by Senator Robach, an act to amend the railroad law. Senate 8124 by Senator Lanza, an act to amend the arts and cultural affairs law. Senate 8134 by Senator Klein, an act to amend the social services law. Senate 8140 by Senator Lanza, an act to amend the alcoholic beverage control law. Senate 8141 by Senator Savino, an act to amend the public authorities law. Senate 8146 by Senator Lanza, an act to amend Chapter 154 of the laws of 1921. And Senate 8147 by Senator Felder, an act to authorize. All bills reported direct to third reading.
I'll entertain a motion.
Yes, I move to accept the Rules Committee report.
All in favor of accepting the Committee on Rules report, say aye. Opposed? The Committee on Rules report is accepted and before the House. Senator DeFrancisco.
What? Last thing. Any messages from the Assembly, please?
There are messages. Secretary will read.
Senator Robach moved to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 7784 to substitute the identical Senate Bill 5762, third reading calendar 1902. Senator Lanza moved to discharge from the Committee on Transportation Assembly Bill number 5627B and substitute the identical Senate Bill 5825B, third reading calendar 1903. Senator Marchone moved to discharge from the Committee on Judiciary Assembly Bill number 9568A and substitute the identical Senate Bill 6824A, third reading calendar 1905. Senator Martins moved to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 2462A and substitute the identical Senate Bill 7431A, third reading calendar 1909. Senator Savino moved to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 10278A and substitute the identical Senate Bill 7987A, third reading calendar 1913. Senator Lanza moved to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 10266 and substitute the identical Senate Bill 8038, third reading calendar 1915. Senator Ranzenhofer moved to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 10633 and substitute the identical Senate Bill 8054, third reading calendar 1917. Senator Little moved to discharge from the Committee on Housing and Construction Assembly Bill number 4102 and substitute the identical Senate Bill 8096, third reading calendar 1921. Senator Laval moved to discharge from the Committee on Rules Assembly Bill number 10707 and substitute the identical Senate Bill 8110, third reading calendar 1923.
So ordered.
Can
Senator
we now take,
Francisco.
can we now take up the non-controversial reading of the supplemental calendar 55B?
Okay, we will begin the non-controversial reading of today's Senate Supplemental Calendar 55B, which is at the desks. Secretary will read.
Calendar number 1899 by Senator DeFrancisco. Senator
Majority Leader, this bill is laid aside for the day.
Bill is laid aside for the day.
Calendar number 1900 by Senator DeLon, Senate Print 1860, enacting the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1901 by Senator Sanders, Senate Print 3272A, enact to direct.
Last section.
Section 4, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1902 by Member of the Assembly Skoufis, Assembly Print 7784, enactment of State Finance Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1903 by Member of the Assembly Perry, Assembly Print 5627B, enactment of Vehicle and Traffic Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect on the 30th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1904 by Senator Ritchie, Senate Print 6755, enactment of Social Services Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect on the 30th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1905 by Member of the Assembly McDonald, Assembly Print 9568A, enactment of Civil Practice Law and Rules.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Nobody? Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1906 by Senator Martin, Senate Print 7113, enactment of Criminal Procedure Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Relation to calendar 1906, those recorded the negative are Senators DeLon, Montgomery, and Perkins. Also Senator Squadron. Ayes 58, nays 4.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1907 by Senator Ritchie, Senate Print 7170A, enactment of the tax law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. That's it. Ayes 61, nays 1. Senator Hamilton recorded in the negative.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1908 by Senator Bonasek, Senate Print 7209A, enactment of judiciary law.
Last section.
Section 8, this act should take effect on the 90th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 61, nays 1. Senator Hamilton recorded in the negative.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1909 by Member of the Assembly Bronson, Assembly Print 2462A, enactment of Workers' Compensation Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1910 by Senator Laval, Senate Print 7791B, enactment of the Education Law.
Last section.
Section 4, this act should take effect on the 180th day.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 61, nays 1. Senator Hamilton recorded in the negative.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1911 by Senator Murphy, Senate Print 7805, enactment of the Agriculture Markets Law.
Last section.
Section 4, this act should take effect 2 years after it shall become law.
Call the roll.
Adabo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1913 by Member of the Assembly Otis, Assembly Print 10278A, enactment amend the Executive Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect on the 60th day.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1914 by Senator Bonasek, Senate Print 8031. An act amending the Racing Parimutuel Wagering and Breeding Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act shall take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. In relation to calendar 1914, those recorded in the negative are Senators Avella, Carlucci, and Valesky. Ayes 59, nays 3.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1915 by Member of the Assembly Farrell, Assembly Print 10266. An act amending the Administrative Code of the City of New York.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1916 by Senator Venditto, Senate Print 8051. An act amending the Vehicle and Traffic Law.
Last section.
Section 4, this act should take effect on the 30th day.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1917 by the Assembly Committee on Rules, Assembly Print 10633. An act amending the Real Property Tax Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 61, nays 1. Senator Hamilton recorded in the negative.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1918 by Senator Golden, Senate Print 8063, an act amending the Real Property Tax Law.
Last section.
Section 3, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1919 by Senator Golden, Senate Print 8064, an act amending the tax law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect January 1, 2017.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 60, nays 2. Senators Kennedy and Perkins recorded in the negative.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1920 by Senator Golden, Senate Print 8091, an act to direct.
Read the last section.
Section 3, this act should take effect on the 120th day.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1921 by Member of the Assembly Wright, Assembly Print 4102, an act to amend the Public Housing Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect on the 90th day.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1922 by Senator Parker, Senate Print 8104A, an act to amend the Penal Law.
Last section.
Section 3, this act should take effect on the 1st of November.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1923 by the Assembly Committee on Rules, Assembly Print 10707, an act to amend the Education Law.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1924 by Senator Hannan, Senate Print 8118, an act to authorize.
Last section.
Section 2, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 61, nays 1. Ayes 60, nays 2. Senators Bonasek and O'Mara recorded in the negative.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1925 by Senator Robach, Senate Print 8119, an act to amend the Railroad Law.
Last section.
Section 8, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1926 by Senator Lanza, Senate.
Laid aside for the day.
Calendar number 1927 by Senator Klein, Senate Print 8134, an act to amend the Social Services Law.
Last section.
Section 11, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1928 by Senator Lanza, Senate Print 8140, an act to amend the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law.
Last section.
Section 18, this act should take effect on the 60th day.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Ayes 62.
Bill's passed.
Calendar number 1929 by Senator Savino, Senate Print 8141, an act to amend the Public Authorities Law.
Last section.
Section 5, this act should take effect immediately.
Call the roll.
Addabbo, Flanagan, Klein, Stewart, Cousins, Young. Aye, 62.
Bills passed. Calendars number 1930 and 1931 are both high. They were amended. As a result of that, ineligible for consideration. And accordingly, Senator DeFrancisco, that completes the non-controversial reading of Senate Supplemental Calendar 55B. Senator DeFrancisco.
Can we now go back to Senate Supplemental Calendar 54B? In that calendar, we had withdrawn a vote. We laid another bill aside, and we also have to come up with a vote on a bill that's already been debated. So
54B, Calendar 54B.
if you take up Calendar 573, Senator Little's bill on Supplemental 54B, please.
Secretary will recall.
Calendar number 573 by Senator Little, Senate Print 1078, an act amending
Lay the bill aside for the day.